It's the start of a brand new week. Good morning and welcome to NewsDesk. We're live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125. Coming up in the next 60 minutes, Social Security and National Insurance Trust denies claims of foul play in its decision to sell 60% stake in its hotel to the Food and Agriculture Minister, Dr. Brian Acheampong. We'll hear from the Norton MP, Samuel Kujeto Ablakwa, who petitioned Siraj to investigate allegations of conflict of interest. Also in this bulletin, investigations underway to unravel circumstances surrounding a premixed fuel explosion in the western region on Sunday, which resulted in the death of 2 children and the injury of 14 persons.
16 victims. And then if you is taking charge of 13 of them. And then out of the 13, this morning we've lost 1.
We are live in the region for updates, and later in the bulletin, government races against time to avert a nationwide industrial action by medical laboratory workers as the Labour Commission directs the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to begin negotiation with the Medical Laboratory Workers Union. I am Faustina Safo. Thanks for choosing us. We'll be back. Thanks for choosing us. We're your home of independent, fearless and credible journalism. Now we start with investigations which are underway to unravel circumstances surrounding a premixed fuel explosion in the Esikado Ketan constituency of the Western region on Sunday, which resulted in the death of 2 children and the injury of 14 persons. Correspondent Natalia Kwanza reports the fishing community has been thrown into a state of shock and mourning following the incident. There's more in this report.
The fishing community of Intresa was shattered on Saturday afternoon when a premixed fuel explosion occurred, leaving a trail of destruction and heartbreak. According to a traditional leader, Nana Doko Ajeman III, the explosion happened around 4 p.m. as fishermen were transporting premixed fuel in barrel to the canoe along the beach.
Due to road access only, Yano mpano wanenti wazi baby ana drum no roll no you know about get place of where the canoe is. Unfortunately na does it mudu if you papa na me call the premise obi no kwato wo roll is a compano wan wa pay if you drum no ma ija for ma car selection impa so the main wire then we see so all of a sudden me call the from pay for na yeah then yisan mpano na yakwahwe fire service for by bizi woni djuma yakọ Benedict Hospital menyo ka say 16 people no are victim tell our Benedict Hospital our Ntraban and tell my people of Injesia that there is a road at the seashore side which we are intend to create that road. If the road is there, all this thing will not happen.
The assembly member of the Palm Lands electoral area, Gabriel Mensah, has been at the hospital.
We have 16 victims. And then if you is taking charge of 13 of them. And then out of the 13, this morning we've lost 1. There were 2 out of the 13 who were sent to the theater. And then this morning we've lost 1. We are just from the morgue, and you could see the lifeless body of the young boy. He is 15 years. So out of the 16, we have 5 who are female, and then we have 11 who are male. So out of the 11, we have 3 males at Benedict Hospital. So like Nana said, that has been the trend. They buy the premise from the site, then they roll the drum through the streets.
In response to the tragedy, Professor Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa, the NDC parliamentary candidate for Esikado Ketan constituency, visited the victims at Ifeanyi Quanta Hospital. She offered support for surgeries and donated items to aid hospital operations.
So So I've been doing the dressing changes for the patients as we just finished one, and I'm going through the rest of the ward. I was supposed to be in church this morning. I had a lot of invitation, but I think that this is one of those things. And then we've also identified some of the victims that need to be transferred. So we're working on the transfer as well. It's a lot of work, but I think that that's the job that I was practically going to be the next MP for Iskadu-Ketan constituency. And this is the job that I will be expected to do, and especially since this is in my field of medicine. The healthcare of Western region is very poor, and I think that there's a lot we have to do to upgrade and fix the healthcare. Because as it is right now, all these patients are being transferred outside of the Western region. Why this Effiang Nkwanta feeds both Western North and Western South. So why can't we have services here that is self-sustaining, that we don't have to transfer people to sometimes, especially not like burns.
As the community of Injiri grapples with this tragedy, efforts are underway to provide the necessary support and prevent such incidents in the future. In Natalia Kwanza, Joy News, Takoradi.
Let's get on the phone lines now and speak to correspondent Natalia Kwanza. She joins us with details of what is happening in the community as we speak. Now, what's the mood in the area this morning, Ina?
Firstly, this morning, the community is still mourning. They are still in a state of shock because for them, they've been doing this for years and they haven't experienced anything of this sort. It becomes very shocking. And so when you get to Nigeria, you see that most of their activities has been for the community, I must say. But today, most of them are not on their daily activities, just for smoking space for people preparing to go see. That is what's happening this morning at Injiri.
Now, how are the 14 injured persons? How are they faring?
Firstly, can you come again?
I want to know how the 14 injured persons are currently faring.
Yes, so we know that 2 of them have been transported to the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital, and then 1 has been transported to Interbasin Hospital in Cape Coast, and the rest are in Effiang Nkwanta and then Benedict. So for now, those here, I can say that they are responding to treatment, and we are hoping that they'll get better. But I must also add that the parliamentary candidate for the NPP, Charles Uriah-Wanso-Bisu, for the Iskadu-Ketan constituency yesterday hinted that government is going to foot bills for all the victims involved in this incident.
Thank you so much, Natalia Kwanza. She's our correspondent in the region. Meanwhile, 1 person has died and several members of President Akufo-Addo's security team injured after an accident on the Accra-Kumasi highway. The crash occurred when the convoy was returning from Kumasi after accompanying the president to Kumasi for the funeral of late MP for Ejisu John Kumah. The president is unharmed as he traveled back to Accra with a military aircraft. Well, we'll speak to Maxwell Agbagba to give us details of that statement, but let's move to another very important story, which is the Senate. They have officially responded to a statement that Okudzeto Ablakwa put out, a petition, if you would say, because the Social Security and National Insurance Trust denied any foul play in its decision to sell a 60% stake in its hotel to Rock City Hotel, owned by Food and Agriculture Minister Dr. Brian Acheampong. Well, this comes after Norton MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa petitioned the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice to investigate allegations of conflict of interest, abuse of power and procurement breaches in the sale of 6 hotels. Well, the hotels include Labaji Beach Hotel, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Elmina Beach Resort, Ridge Hotel, Buzia Beach Resort, and the Trust Lodge Hotel. Well, my colleague Kweku Asante joins me with details of that statement released by Senate denying any wrongdoing. Kweku, what does it say?
13-point statement that Senate has put out, clarifying what they have been doing in terms of this transaction is concerned. Let me read the most important points. It says that they did select an independent transaction advisor to guide the selection of strategic investors, among others. They first talk about how they decided to take a strategic decision to divest of 60% of its stake in these 6 hotels that become the subject of this controversy. They say that a total of 9 companies responded to the advertisement by submitting proposals on the 23rd of March deadline that SSNIT gave, and then 6 out of the 9 were then shortlisted and issued with request for proposal documents. The qualifying firms were invited for the opening of the financial proposals based on the technical and financial evaluation. They say that Rock City Hotel, owned by Brian Acheampong, who has become the subject of this controversy, emerged the best. And based on the criteria set out in RFP, Rock City Hotel submitted the best and strongest technical and financial proposal amongst those received. And consequently, it is in negotiation with the SSNIT to buy 60% stake. They say that the process of getting a strategic investor is in its final stages and therefore not yet concluded. They refer to Peter Blackwell's comment that he has made about this and say that they are really welcome. This probe that SSNIT will be extra to be conducted into this matter. They are ready to cooperate fully, but their bottom line is that they insist there's been no wrongdoing, and they selected Rock City Hotel, owned by Dr. Brian Acheampong, the MP Member of Parliament and also Minister for Food and Agriculture, because his hotel, Rock City Hotel, offered the best proposal.
Thank you so much, Kweku Asante. Well, thankfully, the Norton MP, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, joins us live on Newsdesk with more. Well, you've been listening to SSNIT's defense. They say that they adhered to all the rules and regulations in the negotiation with Rock City Hotel. Do you have any basis to doubt this?
If you look at the statements SSNIT has put up, they do not respond to the fundamental issues. The crux of the matter is totally avoided. SSNIT is engaged in avoidance. I have raised the fundamental issue of conflict of interest. Why should a member of parliament and minister of state participate in this transaction? If you pay regard to Article 78 and Article 98 of the Ghanaian Constitution, it is unambiguous that before a minister or a member of parliament will hold an office of profit or engage in transactions of this nature, you need to have applied to the Committee on Members Holding Profit and to the Speaker and be cleared and be granted permission from the Speaker. I have obtained the full list of ministers and MPs who have applied to the Speaker. 47 names. The Honorable Brian Acheampong is not part of it. So the Honorable Brian Acheampong should have been nowhere near this transaction. Absolutely nowhere near. SSNIT has not addressed that fundamental issue. Number 2, SSNIT fails to address the issue of how Rock City was selected. You cannot just claim that Rock City presented the best financial and technical proposals, and all the other 14 were not qualified. Where is the evidence? SSNIT does not provide the evidence. If you look at their own statement, they say that they started this procurement process in November 2018. They are silent on what happens to the deal. So it is clear that if we all, and the Ghanaian people, and you see, I keep saying we are not angry enough. If we don't rise up, if organized labor, the people who work in these hotels, who are about to lose their jobs, if they don't rise up and make sure that SSNIT does not go ahead and finalize this deal, it will become very difficult to reverse. That is why I promptly, last Friday, went to Shraj. So I'm hoping that Shraj itself will act expeditiously. I'm also hoping that President Akufo-Addo himself, these are his appointees. Those who are selling, the one buying, they are all his appointees. President Akufo-Addo told us that those who want to do business, who want to make money, they should stay in the private sector. What does the president say about people violating that warning that he gave to his own appointees? His agri minister is here, not in the private sector, right in government, in cabinet, doing business, taking over hotels that belong to the people of Ghana. And President Akufo-Addo is quiet. Why is President Akufo-Addo quiet? When his own appointees are violating his directive, that if you want to do business, if you want to make money, stay in the private sector. Your own agri minister has violated Article 78, Article 98 of the Constitution, brazenly doing business, conflict of interest business, and you are looking on. What kind of president is this?
MP for North Only, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, thank you for your time here on Newsdesk. We'll await the result of that investigation by Siraj. Meanwhile, one person has died and several members of President Akufo-Addo's security team injured after the President convoy involved in an accident on the Accra-Kumasi highway over the weekend. Well, the crash occurred when the convoy was returning from Kumasi after accompanying the President to Kumasi for the funeral of the late MP for Ejisu. My colleague Mark Solawaba has been reading that statement that the office of the President from the Jubilee House comes to us live with details of that statement. Maxwell, what does it say?
Well, Faustina, it says that on Sunday, 19 May 2024, several vehicles belonging to the President's convoy were involved in a fatal road crash along the Bonsu-Aksana surface stretch of the Accra-Kumasi highway. Now, we're told that the incident occurred while the convoy was on its way back from Kumasi after accompanying the President to Kumasi for a series of activities that weekend. Tragically, we are told that one of the drivers, whose name has been provided as Kwesi Atta, lost his life. Additionally, we are told several close protection and police officers from the President's security team sustained various degrees of injuries and received first treatment at the Sum Government Hospital. They've been currently evacuated to the University of Ghana Medical Center for further treatment and observation. We are told that several vehicles in the convoy were also damaged as a result of the road crash. Fortunately, the President is safe and unharmed because he traveled to Accra using a military aircraft. The statement concludes by offering condolences to the deceased families, and we're told that further details will be communicated as an assessment of the situation, continues, Faustina.
Thank you so much, Maxwell Ogbagba there. Now let's shift our attention to our latest Hotline documentary titled When the Mind Is Not, as we bring you the story of Esinam, who landed her first job soon after national service. However, the stress and demands of the teaching job began to take a toll on her. Esinam, who has been battling with bipolar, decided to confide in school authorities about her mental health condition, which is triggered by stress. Well, in less than 24 hours, she was fired. Emmanuel Jivenu puts a spotlight on Esinam's story and the harsh reality of people living with mental illnesses here in Ghana. Here are excerpts. Well, the full episode airs tonight, 8:30 p.m. Do make a date. Well, government is racing against time to avert a nationwide industrial action by medical laboratory workers as the Labour Commission directs the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to begin negotiations with the Medical Laboratory Workers Union, who have threatened to withdraw their services nationwide should government fail to address their concerns about their conditions of service. But what are their concerns? Well, join me in the studio is Dr. Franklin Ni Amate Ama. He is the first Vice National Chairman of the Professional Medical Laboratory Union, right? So that's the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsdesk. Let's understand your concern, really. It appears every now and then you have concerns about your conditions of service. What is triggering this threat to withdraw your services?
So, first of all, a very good morning to your cherished viewers. I think that every conditions of service must be reviewed time from time. And so what we have is not a static document, but must be reviewed. So as far back as 2022, we submitted a proposal to the Fair Wages and Salary Commission that we will want to review our conditions of service. Now, you will reckon that medical laboratory professionals constitute what we call the essential working group. To that extent, when we have issues and we have grievances, they must come to the fore as quickly as possible, and then same is dealt with expeditiously. And so how come that since 2022, we submitted a proposal And today we are in 2024, and we are still talking about conditions of service. What is stalling it? Maybe the fair wages and
What
salary
are the
commission.
details of this proposal you sent to them as far
Well,
as...
per rules, I am unable to discuss details of the conditions of service. But the conditions of service spells out things about your work environment, if you are entitled to leave, what is the period of leave that you can have. It also talks about your remuneration, your career progression. So your conditions of service spells out everything about the work.
Are you also pushing for new allowances?
Of course. Times have changed significantly. I'm unable to speak to the specifics.
But you need to, so that you know how negotiations will pan out tomorrow, because you're going to be meeting with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission.
Fine.
So we want to understand your concerns. That way we know how to move the story.
So I am unable to discuss the details, but take note that the workspace have changed significantly. You reckon that COVID came to the fore, and as a country, you saw how we were saddled because we were not prepared. And so things like this would feature strongly in the conditions of service in terms of giving us good equipment to work with. So it is not just about allowances as in the bread and butter issues that we are talking about, but we are talking about even the work environment. You know, we work in a very hazardous environment. And so when we need things that will, you know, protect us in the work environment, we shouldn't be taking those things for granted at all.
Those things were part of the petition you sent as far back.
Of course, they are all part of the proposal.
You have been in different meetings even before now, because the Labour Commission has directed the Fair Wages Commission to meet with you tomorrow. What are your expectations in this meeting?
It is our expectation as law-abiding people that we will all comply fully with the directive as submitted by the National Labour Commission, because that is the way to go. If we fail to do something else, I do not think that our membership will be this patient again, because really people are frustrated, and it is leadership that is prevailing upon them that we need to be law-abiding. And so to the extent that National Labour Commission have been proactive and have dealt with the matter, you know, spot-on decision that we should go back and continue negotiation, we are willing to fully comply. What we will not accept is another back and forth again.
What are the three key
What I can tell you is that the Labour Commission indicated that they have not gotten mandate from the Ministry of Finance. And so those at Ministry of Finance, please, if you have to give us financial clearance, please do so. Because our people are frustrated and they are disgruntled. And you will know that in our work environment, when we do not have the right frame of mind to take proper decisions, the consequences are dire. And so let us make sure that if we need financial clearance, because it looks like the Fair Wages and Salary Commission was shifting blame, that they are unable to come to the table because they do not have the tangible in hand, the financial commitment, because at the end of the day, everything that we'll discuss on paper will have some financial implication. And so to the extent that they do not have the mandate, that is why they have been feet dragging. We want to put on record that we are unhappy about the delay tactics that our members are put through. And should we have the feeling, should we have the view again that people are deliberately delaying the process, we will advise ourselves appropriately.
Government says we're in difficult times. The teacher unions are also pushing for some allowances to be provided. And then you're also in the table now negotiating with the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission. Are you willing to reach a compromise?
Take note that the proposal we submit is in tandem with the circumstances in this country. We don't live in the moon or in the space. And so cognizance was taken, and we were very measured in putting the proposal that will inure to our collective benefit, both as the employer. Because what is the point in shooting things very high? And that is why, in any case, we negotiate. What we have submitted is not cast in stones. But when it becomes clear that you are dragging your feet, it means that you are not treating us with respect. And our members will not take it if you treat us with contempt. We will advise ourselves.
And what would this advice be? You already threatened to withdraw your services.
Well, this is a collective decision, and we have structures as a union. And so in matters like this, you refer to the National Executive Council, the regional chairman across the length and breadth of this country, and that culminates into a firm and a solid decision.
How many people make up this union?
So we have
So
5,000
the
plus.
impact.
We have 5,000 plus
Across the country?
Across the country.
So what are your expectations moving forward?
Well, like I said, I am very hopeful that tomorrow we'll be meeting the Fair Wages and Salary Commission. I believe that we will all be open-minded at the table and discuss the issues dispassionately and come up with something that will stand the test of time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Franklin. He is the first Vice National Chairman of the Medical Laboratory Professional Workers Union. Join us here on Newsdesk, giving us details about their soon-to-come meeting with the Fair Wages and Salary Commission. We're taking a quick breather here on Newsdesk. We'll be back with more. To stay tuned in.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Daryl Kwao. Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso, Boniface Gambila, has called for a special protocol to help ease the delays traders who transport tomatoes from Burkina Faso to Ghana face. He said by the time these women traders cross the 52 barriers dotted across the country, they end up losing most of the goods. Mr. Gambila made the appeal at the opening of the second annual Northern Trade, Industry and Investment Summit in Tamale.
The summit, organized by the Center for Policy and Development and other stakeholders like the University for Development Studies, the Northern Development Authority, the Ghana Export Promotion, among others, was under the theme Enhancing Trade and Industry in Northern Ghana through Capacity Development and Strategic Investment. Addressing the summit, Ghana's ambassador to Burkina Faso, Boniface Gambila, appealed to the police and customs to ease the challenges the traders face.
To call upon the state institutions like customs and the police service to review and give attention or special protocols to our traders who ply between Ghana and Burkina Faso. These our traders, when they are cutting and transporting perishable goods like tomatoes, and they are detained so long at these 52 barriers between Tamale and Paga, it affects their produce. Some get rotten, and these poor women and hard-working traders lose so much money in their ventures.
The Speaker of Parliament, Alban Sumana Bagman, said Parliament is committed in passing laws that would help improving trade in the area.
Let's be ourselves. we have great value that others will buy into. We in the Parliament of Ghana understands that targeted capacity building and strategic investment are cornerstones of sustainable development. We remain committed to improving and approving policies that empower businesses in the 5 regions to enhance the skills of its workforce and attract both domestic and foreign investors.
The Executive Director for the Center for Policy and Development, Ishmael Yehuza, said the aim of the summit is to help reduce poverty in the area.
This is a platform that we are creating for the people of the North so that we can improve on whatever we are doing with the principal objective of reducing poverty and creating jobs and reducing poverty.
In other news, the German government is partnering Prefos Limited for the construction of a solar assembly plant at Bero in the Ejisu municipality of the Ashanti region. The assembly plant will have the capacity to produce and assemble 75 megawatts of semi-knocked down solar power street lights and solar panels for sale in domestic and international markets. Here's more in this report.
The total project cost of the solar assembly plant is estimated at 5.2 million euros. Prefos Limited will cover 79.1% of the investment, while the remaining 20.9% will be contributed by the facility investing for employment of Germany's KfW Development Bank. Managing Director for Prefos Limited, Wendy Ajmandia, says the company seeks to create jobs and provide apprenticeship opportunities to increase wealth. She says a total of 141 new jobs will be created at the solar plant. The company already employs 150.
Ghana might be, and Ghana and should be at your heart. Ghana and Kosovo was say on some Kosovo.
Everyone must contribute to the advancement of our country, and in this case, the German government and Prefos Limited have made a groundbreaking grant to build a 75 megawatt solar assembly plant.
75 MW solar assembly plant.
That will reduce unemployment and provide electricity to nearby towns. If there is no work in communities, young people turn to crime and robbery as a means of livelihood support.
That was the reason behind our sword cutting today.
A representative of the German corporation, Stefan Kuhl, says the project is an integral part of special initiatives under its Decent Work for Just Transition. He says the corporation is working together with companies to create 100,000 good jobs and to provide conditions and social protection of its African partners.
The benefits for Prefos are a huge step in its corporate development, in its history. For the workforce, it's a huge step, not just in terms of more people working here, but also the quality, the integration of production processes here in Ghana. So it's not just import-export or something, but it is really production and assembly. That's a big leap for the company and for the environment, for the ecosystem. That's what I would say. And for IFE, my institution that invests here with the background of German taxpayer money, so to say, the intention clearly is to create good new jobs with a social impact, and that is what we can see here.
David Opokus reports for Joy News.
And that's it for the segment. The news returns after the break.
Well, that's it for Joy News Desk. For more news, please log on to myjoyonline.com. My name is Faustina Safo. Have a pleasant day as you enjoy the rest of our programs.